Princeton Tigers. So today we're going to be reviewing one-step equations again. First question says, what is the inverse of addition? Right, the inverse of addition is subtraction. Next question, what is the inverse of subtraction? How can we undo subtraction with addition? What is the inverse of multiplication? What's the opposite of multiplication? How can we undo it? Division. And lastly, what is the inverse of division? Multiplication. You guys should know how to fill in these blanks by now, but our objective is the same as it has been. You can solve one-step equations by using the inverse operation. All right, so let's look at these first three examples we have. The first one, we have w plus 8 equals negative 3. What are we trying to get by itself? We're trying to get w by itself. So we want to undo this addition. How can we undo this addition? Right, by subtracting. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So on this side, I'm left with just w because these two become 0. And on the other side, I'm left with negative 3 minus 8. Plug that into your calculator. Negative 11. All right, looking at the next equation, it's a little bit trickier. So I'm trying to undo the negative 1 plus x so that I'm just left with x by itself. But how can I get rid of negative 1? Here I have addition, so maybe I could subtract 1. But if I have negative 1 minus 1, what actually is that? Try it on your calculator. That's negative 2, and we want this to become 0. So what can I do instead to make this 0? I need to make this negative 1 plus 1. So now that becomes 0, and I'm just left with x. On the other side of the equation, I need to do the same thing, and I'm just left with negative 10. For the last one, I want to get x by itself again. How can I undo this plus 20 to get x by itself? I can subtract 20. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I'll be left with 80 and just x on the other side. Okay, let's do 3 more examples together. So again, I'm trying to get t by itself. So I want to undo this negative 15 so that it becomes 0. So I'll have 0 plus t, which is the same as t. So how can I get rid of this negative negative 15? I can add 15 so that that becomes 0. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So on this side, I'll have just t because that becomes 0. On the other side, I have 60 plus 15, which equals 75. So t equals 75. For this next one, I'm trying to get rid of this 12. How can I get rid of that 12? I can do minus 12 on both sides. 30 minus 12, on this side, I'll be left just with x. And then 30 minus 12 is what? 28. All right, now for h plus 13 equals 7. Again, I'm trying to get h by itself, so I want to get rid of that 13. So I can subtract 13 from both sides. I'm just left with h on one side. Then what am I left with on the other side? 7 minus 13. Try that on your calculator. You're left with negative 6. So h equals negative 6. Let's do 2 more problems. So we have negative 14 equals 3 plus x. Still trying to get x by itself, so I want to get rid of this 3 on both sides. Negative 14 minus 3, negative 17. And then on the other side, this becomes 0. So I'm left with just x. Now over here, so that's x equals negative 17. Over here, I have 32 equals n plus 5. I'll subtract 5 from both sides. 32 minus 5 will be 27 equals n, because this cancels out and becomes 0. So n is equal to 27. All right, so go ahead and try the rest of this worksheet on your own. Do the rest of the equation problems, then just answer these questions about how you feel about your benchmark and tell me if there's anything I can do to make the next benchmark go any smoother. And then lastly, you have some practice. This is square roots, cubed roots, and then solving equations. This one down here is a little bit trickier, but you just want to use your calculator and your knowledge of these numbers to place them in order. Then if we have time to get together at the end of the day, we'll do this guided practice. Try this exit ticket independently. I think you guys at this point could be able to do some of it on your own. Good luck.